Good morning, y'all. That's just a statement of fact, not an opinion. So I'm going to talk about this just for 1 second. So the Department of Homeland Security has been blocked from ending deportation protection for South Sudanese. On Tuesday, U.S. District Judge Angel Kelly in Boston blocked the Trump administration's plan to end TPS, granting an emergency request by 4 South Sudanese migrants and African communities together to prevent expiration after January 5th. ICE Barbie published a notice on November 5th saying that South Sudan no longer met TPS conditions, which was first designated in 2011 and repeatedly renewed amid conflict. Because there's a G-side happening in Sudan the same as it's happening in Gaza. So make no mistake about that. Just because our mainstream media ecosphere is broken and has disappointed us for a decade now doesn't mean because we don't see it, it's not happening. South Sudan is a mess. It's been taken over by the RSF, which is kind of like an IDF of Sudan. It's bad over there. You can't, if you send people back to Sudan, it's a death sentence. Just be clear about that. I don't know ambiguities here. These are people's lives. I have a couple of friends from Sudan, and their parents, my friend, her name is Islam. Her parents they had an appointment to come over here, a hardship visa. They're elderly and they lost everything. War broke out in Sudan. So they were supposed to have an appointment to go to court. And the day that Donald Trump took office, he canceled that visa immediately. So it's important to me. I would appreciate for that reason, and maybe just for that reason only, that you would share this video with everybody and anybody you know. I know why it took so long to talk about Gaza. I know why it took Americans, because they're brown people, because they're brown people. And there is something wrong with Americans. We have been systematically raised in a machinery that just includes racism baked into it, baked into the equation, baked into our tax codes and our voting districting. I mean, it's baked into everything, this racism is. And if you don't see that, I'm sorry, you're ignorant. I don't mean that like, wow, you're an ignorant, but you're literally ignorant of the knowledge that you could possess that would allow you to understand these things. So better yourself. Please do better. No longer met the conditions. She's fucking out of her mind. TPS provides eligible migrants with work authorization and temporary protection from deportation, benefiting about 232 South Sudanese nationals with 73 pending applicants, the lawsuit says. Plaintiffs argue in court that DHS violated the TPS statute and exposed South Sudanese to deportation amid South Sudan's dire humanitarian conditions. This case comes amid broader legal challenges to temporary protected status rollbacks as the administration moves to end TPS for countries including Syria. And at the end of the list of countries, I'm going to ask you what one basic thing they have in common. Okay, so Syria, Venezuela, Haiti, Cuba, Nicaragua. Yeah, all of those countries have in common. They don't produce white people. And while the United Nations experts reported human suffering in South Sudan has remained unchanged, that in itself is a whole separate tragedy, that it has remained unchanged. I understand that we all couldn't look away from Gaza because it was literally streamed into our homes and on our devices in 4K for 2 years. So this is why it is top of mind for many of us. The lawsuit further alleged that the Trump administration exposed them to being deported. That's going to be a very important point in this lawsuit. So, with the renewed peace in South Sudan, this is what ICE Barbie said, their demonstrated commitment to ensuring safe reintegration of returning nationals and improved diplomatic relations, now is the right time to conclude what was always intended to be a temporary designation, she said, appearing to what she's referring to a tenuous 2018 peace agreement that was broken in 2018. The statement totally contradicts the findings of a panel of United Nations experts I know MAGA and this administration, they don't like experts because they're all a bunch of uneducated, bigoted fucks. Experts matter. When the world has to start over, who do you want? You want experts. You want experts at everything. Experts at construction, at sewer systems, at making dams. You want engineers. You don't want a bunch of fucking MAGA men. What would that give you? Idiocracy. We're so close to idiocracy right now. We have a kakistocracy. And if you don't know what a kakistocracy is, it is being ruled by the least qualified among us. That is what a kakistocracy is. So ongoing conflict and aerial bombardments, coupled with flooding and the influx of returnees and refugees from the Sudan, have led to near record levels of food insecurity, with pockets of famine reported in some of the communities most affected by renewed fighting. Trump has increasingly targeted TPS as part of its crackdown on immigration because if it were really going to find the worst of the criminals, it would have been done after the first week. There just weren't that many of them. Just because he lied and now has to keep doubling down about that lie to make it seem like there's so many bad brown people in America. There just aren't. There never were. It was always a lie. A lie that now Stephen Miller is doubling and falling, tripping all over his dick, trying to make realized. That's what happened. Did you notice that Trump will bleat something out of his dementia-addled fucking mind, and all of his staff are like, what did he say? Oh, shit. And then they have to fall all over themselves trying to make it so that their boss didn't just lie on national television. And this is basically their job. They have to do this 24 hours a fucking day every time they let this bloated piece of garbage speak to the American people. Thank you guys for watching my videos. Even if you don't care about Sudan, please share this video to everybody that you know. Please. Thank you so much. Hi, Islam.